You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Welcome back to I Am Refocused Radio. Once again, we are here today, and we have a special, amazing show line for y'all. Today, we have a special guest all the way from Ukraine, Antonina Samoilova. And she's going to tell us everything about her amazing story. She is someone that you need to know. I mean, you've probably seen the viral video, and we have it. We're going to show it real quick. CNN, you've seen it, probably millions of people have seen it, but this was at Everest, and she flown the Ukraine flag, and she has a story behind that. So we're going to learn a little bit about that. But first and foremost, I just want to cut to the chase and welcome her to the show. Antonina, thank you for being on today. First and foremost, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm great. I'm very happy to be here with you today.
You have an awesome story. I mean, you are not a stranger to mountains. 5 highest mountains in the world, Everest 3 times, Lhotse in a single day with Everest. So kind of give us the backstory. Were you someone that always wanted to do this growing up? Or was this something that you found out later in life that you kind of give it a shot?
Yeah, actually, what I understood from this high altitude climbs, that I am capable of so much more than I thought I was capable of before I started my big mountain journey. And now I can say that, we all have these limits, and I had these limits, but then I understood that it's only here in my head. And after I climbed Everest and Lhotse in one day, K2, which is the second highest mountain and very dangerous one, I understood that when we think it's the limit, it's only 20% of our limits used, and we can go so much further. And actually, what I'm trying to do now is to tell myself and to prove to myself that I can do more and more and more. And it works not only in mountains, it works everywhere, actually, in life as well.
And for those who don't really understand how much is put into prep, not just your mind, your body, but just the ability to navigate through some of the most unexpected moments along the journey as well, kind of help paint that picture for our viewers, our audience. What were some of the things that you have to actually go through in preparation for these epic journeys?
I'll tell you how do you actually, I want to start, how do you feel at high altitude? Yeah? Because people who hasn't been there, they do not understand, as I didn't understand till one point. So altitude changes everything, because it creates this hypoxia feeling in your body, when you feel like it's like a huge slab of stone on you, and you need to move, and you need to make a step. And here, for example, in the city, we are making steps. We never think how to do this, yeah? I'm telling literally on the mountain, I'm thinking about every step. So I think how to do the next step, because it's so hard. Sometimes when it's higher than 8,000 meters, I'm stepping 2 steps and stop and breathe, and then do that again. And that's how you get to the summit. And to prepare for I think you're never prepared to this altitude unless you are there, until you are there. And of course, if to tell about this zero level preparation, it's a lot of running. It's a lot of cardio work. And also, you should be prepared, first of all, mentally. You need to understand that you go there to suffer. And that you need to cope somehow with a huge discomfort, with huge physical struggling of your body for 1 month or 1.5 months, because that's how long expedition to Everest or any other kind of 8,000er lasts. So it's like huge work. Usually people preparing for Everest around like 1 year. For someone, it takes several years. It all depends on the body. I have my special story about my first Everest. Actually, it's very interesting, but not typical at all. So for my first Everest, I wasn't preparing, to be honest. So it was like kind of accidentally. But it gave me the understanding that most of the time you go and you make these moves by your mind, not your body. I had many cases with different people on high mountains. They were sportsmen. They were super prepared, like physically, runners, etc. And when they came to these mountains, they didn't summit because they couldn't cope with all this like mental pressure. They couldn't cope with all these, difficulties of the expedition, of the tension, of this like waiting for the perfect moment, for the weather, for for everything, and just like keep going on altitude. It's very different things. And I think only those people who has been at least at 5,000 meters, they can understand how difficult it is.
Once again, listen on Refocused Radio and watching us online, talking to our special guest today, Antonina. She has a website. You can go to AntoninaSamoilova.com. And when you talked about your first time, your first journey, that I read about, and your friends invited you to Kilimanjaro, and you had a switch. Tell us a little bit more. Why did you make the decision that, I'm actually going to try this out for the very first time?
To be honest, that first time on Kilimanjaro was accident for me. It was like just my friends invited me to go to Kilimanjaro. I didn't know anything about mountains, about altitude. I was so unprepared. You can't imagine. I was like going there for 6,000 meters, like in thin jacket, with no gloves, oh my God, it was disaster. And I didn't know that altitude is changing everything, not only weather, but how you feel. Actually, till now, I can say that my first summit, Kilimanjaro summit, was my most difficult. I felt like so bad. I could hardly do that. And actually, after this first mountain, I told myself, I came down, I was destroyed. And I said, this is my first and last mountain. Goodbye, guys. Like I would never come back there again. But then, sometimes all these bad things you forget and only good things stay with you. But I can't say that first mountain changed something like a lot in me. No, I was going like, it was like, it was in terms of like, I was going with my friends. It was quite comfortable. It was our own company, yeah? And real mountains for me started with my Antarctica expedition on the highest point of Antarctica, Mount Vinson, where I went completely alone to the unknown environment, like huge expedition, very difficult, and with completely unknown people to me. I didn't know anyone. And that's where my big mountain journey started, I could say.
When you think about Ukraine, being from there and knowing how special that place is for you personally, take us back to where were you when the exact day of the invasion of Ukraine? Where were you, and what were some of your moments and what was going on in your mind in the moment?
I was in mountains on the 24th of February, 22. I was on the peak of Orizaba, which is the highest volcano of North America. And because I was on the summit, I even didn't have connection. And I didn't know that the war started, to be honest. And when I came down, one day after, I got a message from my sister and which was saying that we are in a bomb shelter with her kid, and Kiev is bombed severely, and the war started in Ukraine. And that was the moment when my life just changed completely. All of our lives changed, yeah. But at that point, I was in Mexico. I had my tickets back on 10th of March, and I understood that I will not come back. To Ukraine, because all my family, they told me, in any case, do not come here, like stay wherever you can stay, yeah. And that's when I went to Africa, to Kilimanjaro, actually the second time, because my expedition was from two parts, Mexico and Kilimanjaro. So I wanted to try this mountain once again to see how I will climb it for the second time after some kind of experience. And I just flew there. I stayed for 1 month in very big stress, because my sister was living in Ukraine with her small child, like while they were like shooting all these like cars on the roads, yeah. And it was awful time, to be honest. But somehow it was a turning point of my life, because that's where I decided to go to Nepal. And that's when I climbed my first Everest. So from Africa, when I didn't know where to go next, and Ukraine wasn't an option at that moment, I thought still it was such a long-term dream to go to Nepal and have some trekking. And I came there in the beginning of April, and that's where actually my life just became a movie, to be honest. That's when I made the decision to go to Everest, to try to climb Everest, not having big experience in mountains at that point, yeah. But it's like very interesting separate story about that. And actually, I came to Nepal in April, 1st of April, as I remember. And then on 12th of May, I was standing on the summit of Everest with a huge Ukrainian flag. I was the only one from Ukraine to summit that year. And actually, that was the biggest reason for me to push myself as much as I could to go through all my fears and to bring this flag, like a symbol that we are here, like, we are fighting, we are not defeated, and we will continue to fight as much as needed.
We showed the clip earlier, but I'm going to show it again as you talk a little bit more about what was going through your mind in the moment when you reached that part of your journey, because you also, I read about you had a picture with you, and you had some inspiration with you along the way. So tell us a little bit about what that meant to you representing Ukraine.
It was so, my Everest climbs, they were very special, not only to me at one point, they became special to many Ukrainians. And exactly because of this first time when it was 2022 and I was the only Ukrainian with our flag on top. Actually, this video is from my second climb. So when I went to Everest for the second time, I had already the idea of making the movie, of making actually this video with Ukrainian flag, and actually the first ever drone shot of top of Everest. And I wanted very much to make it with our flag. I knew that it would be very symbolic and very important to our people. And actually it became like that. So much words of gratefulness, how, as I received after, especially from our military people, military soldiers, it was inspiring for them. And the second Everest was the most difficult for me from all three. But because I had this goal to make this video, I have a cameraman with me. It was like the big thing I went through. I was climbing with COVID. and like feeling really bad. But that climb gave me a lot, like really a lot. Like I understood when you have the goal, the big goal, which is like bigger than your own personal goal. Yeah. It gives you so much more energy and power and some inner force, which just pushes you up. And at one point I was in Camp 2. It's like second Everest expedition. I'm in Camp 2, 6,500 meters. I have COVID. I can hardly move in my sleeping bag. I couldn't turn. All body was painful, fever. Oh my God, it was like awful. And I thought, like, it was 95% that they will rescue me from there, like by helicopter. Even I couldn't walk myself down by foot. And I told myself, I remember this evening so good. I told myself, if tomorrow I can go out of the tent and I can go to the dining tent and have the breakfast, then I will try. Probably it will be possible for me to continue. And next morning I got up, I went to the dining tent, I had my breakfast, and then I stayed one more night at this level in this camp. And I told myself again, tomorrow, if I can go to Camp 3 a bit higher, then it means I can continue. And actually, that's how I summited Everest in 2023, like step by step. Just like every day, I didn't know whether I can go further next day, but I was like pushing myself, and the life paid me back. We had perfect morning for this video, actually, because, like, it was also a story. We are going, my amazing cameraman, Sandra, he's from UK, and he wanted to do this video same like me. We have this plan, we are going, the summit push night. And at one point, the weather became so bad, like snowy, windy. Like everybody was just stopping because of wind. We couldn't move. Even Sherpas. No, it was awful weather. So at one point, I gave up on the idea to make a video. But I told myself, at least I was struggling so much with this COVID. I need to reach the summit. Sandra was super disappointed. We went to the South Summit. So it's like the point around like 1.5 hours from the main summit. And we changed our oxygen bottles, yeah. And I stay, and I noticed like there's zero wind, everything like no snow, zero wind, and the sky is super clear. It was like a miracle. It's just like when we left, like we lost the last hope about making a video. Everything turned out so good. So we went to the summit. Sandra, we even didn't know whether the drone will work because nobody did it before us, And then this moment, I'm taking the flag, Sandra is taking out his drone, and this sound, like, and it flew up. And he made the whole round. Everything was perfect. It was the sunrise, the perfect light. I was literally crying at that moment. I was so happy.
Yeah, I mean, if you're watching on YouTube, you see the footage right now. I mean, that's a breathtaking view. I could imagine how you felt in that moment, but that's once in a lifetime. I would say a lot that lightning doesn't strike twice. So if you get it one time, man, that might be the first and last time you get to have that exact moment. So that's a wonderful view. I mean, I'm like, yeah, that's a beautiful view. Like, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. So once again, listen to Refocused Radio, watching us online, talking to our special guest today. Go to Antonina's website. It's AntoninaSamoilova.com. And my next question for you is, this whole experience throughout the years has helped you form a very powerful perspective. And you teach people, you help people, you show people a lot of great perspective. You're on countless media platforms now telling your story. Can you share with our audience a powerful mental note when you think about summit mentality? What's the greatest obstacle that you feel helped you see life differently and just have a better insight on life?
I can say definitely that the main thing which mountain gave me is the understanding that most of our fears, they are just imagination. It's not the real risk. It's not the real danger. And mountains teach us about this. Yeah, we should divide the real risks and the fear that is created in our mind just because we don't want to go out of our comfort zone. And it relates to anything, to all the things in life. Yeah, like people are afraid to change their work, job. People are afraid to leave relations where they are not happy, and it's everything because they are afraid to make this first step. Because the first step is the most important. And when you do it, sometimes you just need to do it like that, with the closed eyes, because otherwise you have so many reasons not to do, But I always say that we think that fear is a wall, but fear usually is a door. And actually, it's always the door to a much better life and to much more interesting life. It all starts when you make this first step towards your fears. And there are sometimes, of course, real danger. And in mountains, when I'm there, on vertical wall, or I need to jump across the crevasse, the huge crevasse, and I can fall down. I understand that there is a risk. But then what I do, I check my safety, and I know that even if something is wrong, this safety will help me and will save my life. And then I just jump over, and that's it. And then when I come back down to the city, I understand that so many problems, they are not a problem, not problems at all. And just sometimes do this first step, and you see, like, you do the first step, you see the huge mountain in front of you. No, it can be, it can be mountain of, the summit of this mountain is your goal. It can be new business, some kind of dream that you have. And it always seems very huge from the beginning. Like, it sometimes seems impossible to reach. Still, till now, I'm standing at the bottom of Everest, K2, any other big mountain. And I watch there, and I think, how it's possible to reach the summit? It's impossible. But then I just start to go step by step, small steps, like 50 centimeter steps. But they lead me to the summit. Yeah, it takes a lot of time. But if you put a lot of effort, if you really want to go, if you continue when it's very hard, then you reach the summit. And what is also important, like for me, it works very good for me on this high altitude. Yeah, when you already you have this altitude sickness, etc. Very hard to do every step. I'm not thinking how I will step on the summit. I think how to do this 10 steps. And really, I have this technique. I'm going, for example, 5 steps. If it's lower, I can go 10 steps in a row. I step, and then I stop. And I breathe. And I can wait 2 minutes to normalize my breathing, and then I proceed. And the whole summit push is like that, and if it's a bit, for example, if it's lower, you can do 10 steps. If it's higher, you can do 5 steps. And as I told in the beginning, sometimes you just do 1-2 steps and you stop and you wait until you can again to move forward. but it all works. So don't think about the summit. Don't think how you will stand there. Think how you can do like this nearest several steps towards it. It's very helpful.
That, man, that's a great way to look not just at that, but in life in general, because I like to say life will throw curveballs. When you are hoping that it gets easier, it's usually the opposite. And anything that's worth value is always going to be tested. It's always going to be pushed to its limits. Now that you're inspiring so many people and sharing your story, I mean, first of all, let's just say this: you have beaten the odds. I mean, it's not like everybody just goes to where you've been. And it was like, yeah, I just had a little snack and went to the top. No, that's not what you endure a lot of adversity along the way. If you had something to help encourage someone who might feel that they're too afraid to start a new chapter, to try a new thing, since you've been able to survive these moments, what would you say to encourage someone to get over that fear of the unknown?
I would say, stop trying to feel ready. You will never be ready. Stop trying to get ready to something, to this like first step, as I said. Just do it. Do it now, even not tomorrow. You know, if you want to go to the gym, if you want to change your body, and it's like, for example, 25th or 24th of December, and you think, okay, from 1st of January, I will start. No, go now, like Christmas Eve, go. It doesn't matter. Just go today and start, because so many obstacles we have in life, which always be the reason not to start. And then you just tell yourself, I will be ready when I start, when I will start, and that's it. And when you're ready, you know, like you are jumping on this train. And when the train is going and you are there, that's it. I can say you are in a trap of your dream, but you need to move. And that's how people reach their goals, how they achieve their dreams.
You said you need to move, and I got chills because you would never guess what the title of my first episode on the show was in 2017. Guess what the title was?
What?
Keep moving.
Really? Yeah, keep moving.
So
exactly.
I mean, that's awesome, because people understand that there's always going to be challenges in life, and there's always going to be someone giving some kind of solution online, or, you know, whatever. But to your point, if we think too much about the end result, the end game, and that's the only focus, then we lose every single memory of every milestone or mile marker as we are pushing ourselves to go to where we believe we ought to be going. If you had one gem that you would give to your younger self, what would you say to your younger self in preparation of what is possible to achieve?
I would say to myself, it's not something about achievements, but I would say, enjoy your life, make your life interesting. And you can make your life interesting only by your own decisions. Go out of comfort zone as much as you can, because if you want to have a strong character, and I always wanted to have, then you need to put yourself in some kind of challenges, and then you have such an interesting life. And for me, it's the main goal to live like that, you know, to have something when I will be 80 to remember, to have, because at the end, everything that we have is are our emotions and memories. And what I would like to say to all the young people now, especially in this kind of digital era, to go outside, to make your life interesting. You will not make it so much interesting online.
That's perfect.
To live the real life. Yeah.
That's perfect. Well, once again, been listening to Refocused Radio and watching us online. Go to our guest website, Antonina Samoilova.com. And I want to say to you, appreciate your time, be on the show. If there's anything you want to say to our viewers, what do you want to be the last thought for the show?
First of all, I'm very grateful that you invited me. I'm very happy to be here, and I wish everybody to make this first step towards your dreams. It's very important.
Awesome. Well, with that, we'll leave it there. Go to I'mRefocusedRadio.com, catch this episode, and like I said, check out what she's doing. Stay up to date. She's on Instagram, but go to her website, AntoninaSamoilova.com. Like always, thank you for your time. You have a good one.
Thank you very much.